In continuation with our studies of the Union Executive as we understand the provisions of the Indian Constitution, the reference of the President at the head of the Union Executive, the position of the President, especially in relation with executive functioning, is quite important. The provisions as specified in the Constitution refer to Article 52, where it has been distinctly mentioned that there shall be a President of India. But furthermore, in Article 53, when the reference about executive power of the Union is provisioned for, there it has been distinctly mentioned that the executive power of the Union shall be vested in the President and shall be exercised by him either directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance with this Constitution. So, in our understanding of the position of the President, what we should observe, what we should know is, President is the elected head of the state, but through the method of indirect election. Meaning that the claims of we being republic, where very specifically the preamble very strongly declares that the source of all authority under the Constitution of the people of India, and that source is the people of India. Now, this very clearly means that there is no subordination to any external authority when we have a republic head. This is one aspect. And very importantly, the agenda of democracy, that is government by the people and for the people, that is explicitly or rather that is substantively advocated through the provisions in the Constitution. Meaning that only because we have an elected president as the head of our state, only because the president is elected, it means that all of the office of the president, not just the president, but all the officers that are subordinate to him in executive functions, they are open to all citizens. This is the importance of having a republic state, of having an elected president. Meaning that in the democratic setup that we exist in, the very state head, as provisioned in the Constitution, with a very distinct procedure of election, is elected for the office with specific term, conditions, prerequisite qualifications, and all the procedures as prescribed in the Constitution. Now, this empowers the people of the country to decide as to who would be part of the president's office, who would be fulfilling or rather rendering the duties, responsibilities and the functions as prescribed in the Constitution by the president. Now, the office of president is very, very crucial. It's a very important office. Generally, the office of president is referred with various nomenclatures. One among them, the most famous among them, is the office of the first citizen, or rather president himself is referred as first citizen. And furthermore, it is referred as office of ceremony. He is referred as nominal head executive. Now here our understanding has to be very, very clear. Now, although the executive functions are to be rendered by the president, and in doing so he is assisted by subordinate officers, and distinctly article 74 refers about the council of ministers to aid and advise the president in the functioning of the entire executive machinery. But very distinctly, president is the head of the state, not the government. That is what is the meaning, or rather the extended meaning, of nominal head executive. All the decisions that are, or rather all the work is done on behalf of the president. Definitely yes. But all work is done by the real head executive. Now, real head executive is the Prime Minister. Now, Article 74 very distinctly speaks about this, where Union Council of Ministers has been prescribed in the Constitution, and this Union Council of Ministers consists of Prime Minister, and it is the duty of this Union Council of Ministers to aid and advise the President. So, what is very important is, being a very crucial office, President upholds the very dignity, decorum of Indian democracy, and strongly safeguarding the federal setup, or rather the values of federation that India is. There are many provisions in the constitutions which have to be correlated for our broader understanding of the roles, the powers, and the functions of the president's office. So, to begin with, the election of the President of India, the way it has been prescribed in the Constitution of India, Article 54 very distinctly refers to the election of the President. Now, there is a prescription for electoral college as provided in the Constitution. Now, this consists of the way it is read. Article 54, subclause A. The elected members of both houses of parliament, and subclause B. The elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states. Now, further reference, it is very important that when the mannerisms of election, meaning that how exactly the process of election is conducted for the post, for the position, for the office of the president, then we understand the role of union territories which have legislative assemblies. So, ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಾಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರ ಚುನಾವಣೆಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂಗೆ, ಅದರ ವಿಧಾನದ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂಗೆ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 54 ಮತ್ತು ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 55ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ವಿವರಣೆಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ, ಏನು ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಕೊಡಲಾಗಿದೆ, ಅವು ಬಹಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ, electoral college of the president's office, when we observe that, what we come to know is, all the MPs and MLAs of the states and the union territories, all the MPs of both the houses of the parliament, they have a direct process of election through which they are part of such offices. Meaning that the process of indirect election, the way we refer for the office of the president, is ensured through the participation of directly elected representatives from the people. So, people, through their representatives, through their aspirations that they elect their representatives, they somehow are part of the process of election of the president. Now, when we understand real head executive, that is the Prime Minister, the position of the Prime Minister, who in all purposes of the provisions of the Constitution, who takes the decisions, who is the major power for deciding the policy and course of the executive functioning, is directly elected, because executive, the Council of Ministers, is formed from the legislature, that is the elected representatives of the people. Now, only because all the members of the houses of the parliament and the legislative assemblies of the states and union territories, they participate in the process of election only because that prescription is given in the electoral college. It consists of all of them. Only because of this reason, a very distinct identity of the office of the president arises. This is going to be very crucial for our understanding. Now, what happens in parliamentary form of government is, we have an elected representative who is at the head of the executive government machinery, whereas the entire state setup, which is different from the immediate head of the state executive machinery, that is the government, the head of the government, the entire state is headed by the president, who is not directly elected by the people of the country. Now, the manner in which the Prime Minister, or rather the Council of Ministers, and as compared to the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister, the President's office, the way or the manner, the procedure of election differs, and therefore the consequences of that procedure of election also differs. Meaning that there is no conflict of interests. There is no conflict of interests at all between the office of president and the office of prime minister. Now, this is because we chose parliamentary form of government as against presidential form of government, where president, in the presidential form of democracy, definitely the role of direct election is very high and very definite. When we chose the parliamentary form of election, parliamentary form of democracy, and when we did refer to the process of indirect elections to the office of president, intention was that we wanted to avoid conflict of interests. If we had both the head of the state as well as head of the government in the form of an elected representative, then definitely there would be conflict of interests. So, what we should rather understand is, office of the president is often referred as the nominal head of the state, the office of the nominal head of the state. Yes, it is a formal head executives reference that we are talking about. Now, all executive decisions are taken in the name of president. This is what we discussed. But the real head of the government is the prime minister, who is basically real in this sense here is de facto head, who is directly elected, right? So, despite being the nominal head of the state, the office of the president is quite crucial for executive machinery to function as well as for the legislative machinery to function.